Hello everybody, welcome to the Cranberry Cornstalk YouTube channel, the channel where we share our love for primitive decor. This week I'm going to show you how I made some life-size dolls. I believe this one was the witch doll. She turned out really cute, but I wanted to explain to you how I got here. So I found a bunch of big blocks of wood that was discarded from a project my husband was working on. I gathered them all up, and I did run out, so I ended up using an alternative for the base. I ended up using some shelf holders. You can get them at Walmart for $4 unfinished, or you can get the shelf holder, legs. I think I ended up getting them all at Walmart actually, but they'll make a nice three-way tripod to hold a wooden pole. Then I found a wooden pole at the local hardware store, and it was about I think it was 4 feet for each of the smaller dolls. So I drilled a hole with a paddle bit that was 1 inch wide, the center of the block of wood, and I placed the wooden pole into the center of the block of wood with a little bit of wood glue, and that made my base. I sewed the top of the body. I just drew a body on a pattern and made a canvas. It's a real heavy canvas that I found. I actually used a drop cloth. It would seem to be cheaper in the long run for the yards of fabric, and it was really heavy. I wanted to be super grungy, super primitive, so I used drop cloth. But as you can see here in this video, oh, what a nightmare to try to get the needle through. I mean, you can always paint the face on, but I really wanted that puckered look. I like the puckered nose and the face. I was going for that, sunken in head. Remember back in the 70s, the sunken head apples. But I was going for that kind of look for fall, for Halloween. And so I struggled with the needle. I used a metal thimble to push the needle through. You had to have make sure you get a really thick needle, because nothing else would stand up to this, what I was doing to it. But I would put it in, and as you can see, the metal thimble there, and push it through where I wanted the stitches to go. And yes, it kept popping out and everything was fine. It was very difficult, but I was determined. It was good. It turned out really cute, guys. But I had to pull it out with pliers. You can see I had the needle nose pliers there to either push it in or pull it out, because my fingers were getting so tired. I think, so I don't remember the count, several different dolls to sell at the festival. I think I showed you my festival booth in this video. But that's how I got to this point. I painted the top torso of the doll for a blouse or a shirt or whatever. I wasn't quite sure where I was going with that yet. But as far as the arms go, I took an old metal hanger, and opened it all up, curled the very tips of the end so they weren't sharp, and poked. Before I curled the tip of the end, I poked it through the whole body, and from one side to the other, and then curled the tips so I could put the sleeves on for the arms, and they wouldn't poke out through the ends of the sleeve that made the arms. I sewed the arms in place, and that's how far I've gotten here. I did sew, I stained her with some coffee stain, and I wasn't sure what I was doing with my eyes. I painted just white almonds, and I was just experimenting with different kinds of finishes. Here I started using a pencil. I was going for a softer look. I did end up using paint though, if I remember right in this video. I started with a brown pencil. That I liked the look of it. It wasn't as dramatic as I wanted, because when you put the hat on, I was afraid it'd be too shadowy and be really hard to see her eyes. And you can tell when I'm finished, that's exactly what it was. It's very difficult to see her eyes. So I'm glad I went with the lighter colors and opted for the paint finish. When I get in the creative mood, I just keep going, and sometimes I forget to reset the camera. I really struggle with videotaping all of the things I make, but the rest of the doll, the clothing is just self-explanatory if you know how to sew. If not, look back in my other videos. I have multiple examples of how to make skirts and things like that. All I did was hot glue a lot of the items together. After I sewed them, I would hot glue the clothing. I didn't quite get all of the pieces finished for you, but you can see it's pretty self-explanatory. I went ahead on and I made some sculptures to go. I had made a scarecrow doll as well. I just formed the body out of aluminum foil, and then I made a paper mache paste and put on top of the body. There you see my crow. Just painted the beak golden yellow. And there's a scarecrow I made. I tied a bunch of drieds and gourd to him. I also made a Statue of Liberty. Here's the hat, just made out of cardboard and some trimmings. Again, hot glue, and made the dress as if just draped fabric over here. Here's the witch that I made. I finished her face, and here's her in full body with her little dress, and there's the two together. They're so cute. They turned out really well. Here is another doll that I made. She's just a little Mary maid with long blonde hair. I took a rope and I pulled all the strings apart to form her hair. I just took a piece of burlap and painted stripes and stars on for a flag. Yeah, just made the basic same body, did the same thing, and put her together. So here's my little blonde maiden. This doll I was inspired by one I saw on Pinterest. I just loved her little face, her pouty lips. I just loved everything about her, and I had to make one just like her. I used yarn and just pulled it apart to make her hair, a black yarn, and then made her a head of cabbage out of a styrofoam ball, and I used fabric stiffener to make her cabbage leaves keep from being wilty. Now this big guy was another project I made. It was a pumpkin head doll. I just wanted to show you the details. The reason the word primitive is across there, I had made a Instagram video from it, and you can see the details on him. Same idea, same instance, just made him a bigger head, sewed on eyes and a nose and a mouth, and tied a gourd onto him with wire. I also made an orange pumpkin head doll. They were about 6 feet tall. Here is the basics of the clothes before they were finished to try to give you an idea. And there they are finished, the little pumpkin head buddies. I also made a life-size witch boot. I'll show you some of the workings here. I just filled it up with drieds. I made a paper mache bat. I just formed it out of cardboard as well and painted it black, dusted it, and then, you know, put a little gauze on the front, just a little bit of super glue there. Some cotton, some home picked cotton, and some drieds. It made a really cute witch boot. I made several of them and I sold out right away. But there's some samples for you to see. A little bit of Sweet Annie. I also made a Uncle Sam hat. I had intention of making him, the one in the corner down there. He was 6 feet tall, although you can't tell in this picture. He's big, but he is adorable too. I made him. Now I think before I share with you the festival and how it went, I would share with you a sad moment for me. I have a hard time letting go and moving forward, but Penn's Colony in Saxonburg, where I've shown on this video channel many times, our festivals out there, has closed and they sold the property. And for me it was very sad. I'm sure the owners are very excited for whatever reason they decide to sell and move on, but the festival that I've shown you before, if you go back and look to today when we went to pick up a few things that we had left there, the buildings are torn down, the stages are gone, all the wooden historical settings throughout the property are gone. You can see the building there on the left torn down, but I just thought I'd show you. It was a sad moment for me, but that's just me. But I thought I'd show you Penn's Colony from Saxonburg, how it will no longer have a festival every year. So we'll be moving on to Shaker Woods, and I'll show you how that went. Shaker Woods in Columbiana, Ohio is our next festival. Okay, so on to happier moments. This is loading up the trailer to go to our next festival. You can see how I put the dolls and things in there with a bag, and then we ended up using bungees and straps to hold them down. There's my new line in the corner. I'm so excited about it. I got some dresses, tea stained, and did a little bit of sewing here and there, and they're just adorable. The new popular floral dresses. I was very excited about that line. We also have scripture sewed into each dress, which was a fun addition for this year. All right, we arrived at Shaker Woods in Columbiana, Ohio for our next festival, and it had been all packed up for the winter. We had a little bit of housekeeping to do, some cleaning and leaves, you know, that type of thing from the year of just sitting empty. So we got in there and got started and got ready for our next festival. I know,